A couple of days ago, I made a video about a client that I have that was feeling some disappointment in himself over the tough week he had. He was feeling some angst and some disappointment over some missed goals and his inability to execute against some behavioral and habitual things that we've been talking about that would lead to his success. He just wasn't able to have the week that he was looking for. And in this video, I shared that success is not a straight line. We do ourselves a disservice by beating ourselves up for these momentary setbacks. Setbacks are common. They are normal. They are a part of success. They are going to happen. And it would be wrong of us to expect we were going to change something about ourselves and get different results without these kinds of struggles and these setbacks. And so after I made that video, someone reached out to me and said, Amy, I love this video. I think this is a great topic, but you seem to speak from a place of experience on this, and yet you have so much success in every area of your life. Can you give me a couple of examples of times where that happened to you, where you were chasing down a goal or trying to make a shift in your behavior, you had a setback, how you handled it? It would be helpful for me to know of some specifics where you face this. And I kind of laughed at that and said, how much time do you have? Because I have several of those examples. But as I answered this question for this individual, it made me realize, I want to make a video about this and be genuine and transparent and authentic and share those struggles with other people. I'm always preaching about being humble and being vulnerable. I thought this could be a good way for me to practice that. So I'll give you a couple of the examples that I gave this person, and potentially that's helpful for somebody. So number one, every week I make commitments around my health and my fitness. How many meals I plan to eat healthy out of all the meals I'll have, how many times I'm going to work out, what kind of workouts I'm going to have, how much water I'm going to drink, how much rest I plan to get, that sort of thing. I map it all out. And I can't tell you the last time that I actually had a perfect week. Almost every week, I miss some component of the plan. I either skip a workout, or I don't have as good or strong or as intensive a workout as I planned, or there's one time that I was supposed to be home eating nothing but leafy greens, vegetables, fish, chicken, and instead I end up going out for something to eat in public, which never really is quite as healthy in my book. And I miss one of those. And I used to, when this happened, get very upset with myself. I would think, oh my gosh, you ended up going out for dinner last night, and instead of getting the salad like you promised, you got a burger because it just looked and sounded really good. Shame on you for doing that. Bad girl. You need to eat nothing but basically greens today to make up for that. I would sort of punish myself. I would restrict or ration my food the next day. I would talk down to myself of, God, how did you let that happen? And now I've learned that doing that just sabotages me. It gets me in a bad place with myself. It's not loving, it's not kind, it's not respectful for myself. And so instead, I focus on how positive it is that I have these goals in the first place, and how setting up my whole week in advance, even if I miss once or miss twice on a meal or some kind of workout, I do a heck of a lot better than if I didn't set the goals in the first place. And I'm also doing much better than I did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I am much healthier. I focus on my wellness, my fitness, my water intake to a much greater extent than I did a long time ago. And so I allow myself that grace to say, hey, you might miss a meal, or you might change your plan at the last minute. But in general, look at all the times you didn't do that. And allowing me to focus on that kind of keeps me back on track. I also have this rule of, don't mess up twice in a row. And so if I miss a workout, or if I didn't eat what I wanted, my goal is really, hey, let's make sure the next one is right. You don't have to overcompensate like you used to with the rationing or the, silencing of food, but just ultimately make sure that you're aware of, hey, I took this sort of day off, or this time off. I'm going to get right back on track. And I get very proud of myself for being able to get back on track quickly. But that's a common place where I absolutely make mistakes or mess up or don't follow my plan. And I work very hard not to beat myself up too much for that. Another area is with regards to David. David and I have a couples mission statement. More on that for anyone that wants to talk about that, but it's been very helpful for us. In our mission statement, we have some aspirational goals. One of them is that we listen to each other completely and fully before really responding to each other, that we never raise our voices if we're having conflict or a difference of opinion, that we accept each other's decisions and hobbies, we don't judge each other, If I were to tell you that I'm perfect with all of that 100% of the time every day, that would be a ginormous lie. There are moments where David and I will have a difference of opinion. We'll get into a discussion or a debate about that. And I will cut him off right before he's done speaking because I'll have gotten so excited about what he's been saying and I want to respond to that. Or we have been in situations where the conversation is very emotional or passionate for both of us, and we have both raised our voices with one another. What is important to me is how much less that happens today than it has happened with other partners of mine, people that I didn't have a mission statement with, how much more we get it right than wrong, how the mission statement really does guide us most of the time, and how we're really working to build a healthy relationship with each other. We didn't necessarily start off that way in our first year or two. We didn't have the mission statement created yet. We only made it back in 2018 and we started dating in 2016. And so I get to focus on, the having of that statement 90% of the time, 95% of the time, it really does guide us to do the right things. Whereas before we didn't have it, we screwed up a lot more often. And so instead of beating myself up for he was trying to say something last night and you sort of cut him off and interrupted him, that's so bad of you. I get to do something about it. Today, I get to go and apologize and tell him how sorry I am, ask for forgiveness. I also get to focus on all the times, again, I get it right and that I didn't do that. And the fact that we're moving directionally in the right way. A third and final area where this has happened to me is it has to do with the writing of my book, which has obviously been a hot topic recently with the book having come out. But I can't tell you how many days that there were over the course of the 2-ish year period that I was writing the book where I would make a plan to write. I would say, I'm going to write an hour today. I'm going to write 2 hours today. I'm going to write 10 pages today. I'm going to write 5,000 words today. And something else would come up. I either just wouldn't feel like it because writing actually was hard for me. And dedicated, structured writing like this, it's not just like banging out an email or a text message. And there would be days I just didn't feel like doing it, and I would give into that. And I would set the goal to, hey, I'm going to be this productive over the weekend. Sometimes it would be the entire end of the weekend, and I would think, oh my gosh, I never did any of that. Same concept with the health and fitness, same concept as with David. The most important thing was just that I got back on track as soon as possible. Hey, you didn't have a great week last week. Here's what you did instead. You went out with some friends and cultivated those relationships. You had a lot of fun. That's good that you did that. Hey, you cleaned the whole house. That needed to be done. You focused on other wildly important goals. You were making your transformation videos. You were interacting with a new client. All that was important. That's why you didn't do it. It's okay. It's all right. But this is important to you. And so let's try to get back on track as soon as we can. Let's make a difference this week. And as I gave myself, again, grace and forgiveness for not being as successful as I wanted, and I didn't let that become the story. The story was, hey, in general, you do right when you say you're going to. Think of all the times that you've sacrificed seeing a friend or told someone no, you couldn't hang out because you had to write, and how good that made you feel. Let's get back to that. And in general, when I thought that way, I was able to get myself back on track. So the point of this is that we all fall off track. We all make commitments that we sometimes fail to keep because other things got in the way. We all have moments where we think, I could have done better. But when we focus on that, then that becomes the story. What is more important is us to focus on how quickly we can get back on track, how much better we're doing than we used to do, how the fact that we have goals or a vision or a plan at all is better than those that don't, and how good we're really doing, how much more we get it right than we get it wrong. But those are some examples in my own personal life where I too have fallen off track. And I know that temptation's there to say, God, you suck, you didn't go to the gym, you didn't eat this healthy meal, you lost your cool a little bit in an argument with someone you care about, you didn't write when you said you were going to. What the hell's wrong with you? You are not a worthwhile, valuable person. Thinking that way, talking that way never leads to progress and growth. And so, again, give yourself some grace. These are examples where I've had to do it. We can absolutely all do it. And I guarantee if you think this way, you will affirm yourself, love yourself, support yourself better, and you'll be in a better position then to achieve these goals. So with that in mind, everybody have a great week. I hope you're all doing wonderful. I'll see you very soon.